All right, everybody. Let's get into some StarCraft casting. So tonight, what I'm going to be doing is I had a request to specifically cast the finals or the playoffs. I'm not entirely how it works, and I should try to understand it a little bit better. But I believe this is the finals for the E and F groups of NASL Season 1. Now, this is ran by Maniac Ben. It's a really cool server and kind of format where they play on maps that are community chosen. So we're going to be playing on some maps that are a little bit older, not necessarily in the ladder pool at the moment, and get to see how these players kind of interact with them. So what we have tonight is at the there was a bracket for ENF groups, and right now we're going to have a best of 7 series between Rulebot, who is playing Protoss, versus Dada, who is playing Zerg. So yeah, it'll be a really good time. I'm going to go ahead and start the game here in just a second. We'll get right into it. I don't want to waste any time because it is a best of 7. So those always have the potential to take a really long time. And I should have had the replay up and ready to go, but unfortunately I didn't. So let me go ahead and grab those here real quick. There's been a lot of really good StarCraft going on recently. Like today was pretty much off and on watching the CS LAN going on in Oklahoma City, being hosted by Aaron. Really fun to watch. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Our first match is going to be on Allegro. And there we go. Now we have our StarCraft music going. We've got Allegro up and running. 4-player map, a map that's not in the map pool right now. Gonna get some solid PvZ action up here in the top left. You are gonna see Lust for Lings. This is Dada. You may know Dada as one of the faces, one of the mods, one of the admins, one of the key players with hosting and running CPL, which is a really common entry point for players in the StarCraft community. It's a great I don't know what to call it, organization, server, tournament series. They generally do one season a year, and it's great. It's the Coach Pupil League, and it's all about new players, getting coaching, being on a team, and having a lot of fun. So anyway, Dada's a big part of that, and he is spawning here as the orange Zerg in the top left. Rulebot down here, he's going to be the gray Protoss in the bottom right. So we do have a cross spawn situation going on. You can see here, I like it when we have the mixes of terrain too. We've got kind of like the urban kind of walls going on over here, and then the cliffs right here. And you can see that right now Rulebot is just throwing down that pylon and going to be going for an early scout around the map. Now he's going to be going counterclockwise, so he will identify rather early that Dada is in the top left, that they do have a lot of distance between them. And I think this is going to be good for Rulebot. And we'll see if Rulebot tries to go into some sort of Corsair play or what he's thinking. And yeah, we do look like we're going to have a Forge Fast Expand, which does kind of open up some really good opportunities for Corsairs. Now up here we do have, it looks like an overpool from Dada. And I imagine we'll see, once this 12th drone pops, probably head out to the natural himself, get his own expansion going up. Now this probe's going to be showing up right at the same time. So let's see if Rulebot has the opportunity to get in the way. It looks like he might have just missed that drone. Dada hiding the drone masterfully there is going to run behind the probe getting into the main base and throw down that hatchery. And here on the way out, Rulebot is going to identify that that expansion has gone down. So very little silly business going on. Oh, is he going to be going for a cannon rush? Oh, here we go. Okay, so the Forge has completed back home. He has one cannon back in his own natural, and we have the pylon here. I don't know if this is tight. Maybe with this little doodad, this might be tight. But it looks like he might be thinking about throwing his first cannon somewhere over. Oh, he canceled it. Okay, so we have the 4 lings. He cancels the pylon. Dada splitting the lings up. This probe has nowhere to go. It looks like he did drill out. Looks like he drilled to that Vespene gas, and he's going to be heading out of this base, trying to keep that probe alive. Well, kind of a cool harass there. I don't know if that impacted the timing here on his gateway. It probably did, right? Spending 100 minerals isn't just for nothing. And we do have the expansion going down for rulebot. Okay, so as of right now, there hasn't been scouting from Dada to know that rulebot is in the bottom right. And it doesn't look like rulebot is going to take his probe all the way home. He's kind of dancing around the middle, buying as much time as possible to prevent any opportunity for Dada to maybe try to throw or do some sort of ling all in on his base. Now, Dada is aware with the Overlord that rulebot is not in the bottom left, and his second Overlord is heading up to the top right. And this isn't the natural this is, so he still has some time until he's absolutely sure that Protoss is down here and it's a cross spawn situation. Now, Dada has put down his third base. He's opted to go for the third base here on the high ground, which is good. This has the gas. This one does not. And it's going to be a little bit more defensible and a little bit tougher for rulebot to identify. Okay, so here come the lings across the map. And we already have the Hydralisk Den going down in Dada. I want to say Dada. Dada. Big Daddy. In Daddy's base. Here, let me put us here in front of the natural. We can go ahead and watch these lings for a little bit while I crack open something nice to drink. You know, when there's a best of 7 series and it's a finals, you got to indulge a little bit. You got to really enjoy the amazing StarCraft that you're watching. That's some great Aldi's off-brand beer. I recently discovered that Aldi's, if you're familiar with Aldi's is it's like a discount grocery store, and they have like their own brands. I don't know if it's theirs or whatever, but they brought by a selection of beers that are basically off-brands of main beers that you would know. So like they have their own off-brand Guinness, they have their own off-brand Blue Moon, off-brand Corona. Anyway, they taste about the same and they're significantly cheaper, so pro tip. Okay, so we are having drones come down here to the third base. Still hasn't been identified. Kind of looks like a 973 setup here from Dada. Hydralisks are starting to morph. We've got our first one out. Now I want to take a check here and see where we're at Corsairs. So Stargate did just finish. We got Citadel of the Dune, a cannon in the main. Because right now, rulebot isn't sure whether Dada is going any type of Mutalisks. I mean, the assumption would obviously be Hydralisks. I feel like that's kind of the standard game loop here. And the Overlord just barely survived that cannon earlier as well. So Dada's going to start bulking up his forces in front of the natural. The name of the game here for rulebot, I would assume, would be getting some Corsairs out, but I don't see any in production right now. He's going to poke out with these Zealots, maybe try to aggro some of these lings in towards the cannons. Also get an idea of how much forces Dada has out front, and see if by chance there's any lurker eggs that are being morphed here outside of his natural. Now, a little bit of a preemptive pull there on the probes. It looks like he might have clicked them over here to try to plug this hole. But there was nowhere for them to stand, so they just kind of scattered around. And you can see rulebot now throwing down a bunch of cannons, starting to feel a little bit nervous. He saw just how many Hydralisks there were. Dada going in for the kill. He's going to start trying to target these down, but the Hydralisks are just kind of dancing at the moment. Looks like he is trying to target fire these cannons specifically. So the lings have died. The Hydralisks kind of bouncing around a little bit. We're getting some reinforcements. But, you know, that was a really strong window of opportunity that Dada had that has kind of been lost now as all these additional cannons are warping in. Okay, here we go. Hydralisk spitting on Zealots. Zealots hate that. Zealots hate this one trick, and it's disgusting. Okay, so here we go. More dancing back and forth here at the front. Now, instead of going Corsairs, it does look like rulebot is throwing down his Templar archives, and he might be starting to rush towards Templar, but he doesn't have that many gateways, right? He's got 2. He's got a third one here. And we are just putting down tons of cannons. So he's got 4 out right now. It looks like he's warping in another 4. He's going to have 8 cannons at the front. Now, Dada does look like he's going up to layer. Getting another hatchery. Getting another 2 hatcheries over here. So that'll bring him up to 6 hatcheries. So he's going to have a lot of larvae to work with very shortly. And without the ability of, you know, the no-stayer play really kind of hampers the ability for Protoss to kind of chip away at the Zerg. Like, for example, if he had a Corsair or two, he could probably kill this Overlord, maybe go up here, find this guy, and at least have an idea that these bases are out and about. Now, he still might be able to get something done along those lines of scouting and some incremental damage when he gets this DT out, but you can see he completely walled himself in, so he had to kill his own cannon so that this dude can go do shady things. Off he goes. And we'll keep an eye on the mini-map and see where that DT goes and what kind of work he can get done. Alright, so we do have the High Templar out. Not sure if we have Storm. I feel like it hasn't been long enough. I wasn't looking at the production tab, so you might have to let me know if Storm has been completed. But he is getting a pretty solid count of High Templar out here on the field. Now, this Overlord is going to be able to spot this DT, I think, if by chance Dada is paying attention to the minimap at this particular moment. So like right now, he should see, okay, there's a DT out, a DT floating around, which means he should probably get an Overlord, you know, over each of his bases. He already has one here at the natural. He's got one here at his third, but there's nothing at home and there's nothing out here protecting his fourth. So there might be a chance here. We'll see if he uses this DT to try to kill the hatchery. I don't think he should. He'll probably wait for some drones to show up, and then just start dicing. Just start dicing them up. Yep. He's just waiting. Love to see it. Freaking Protoss, man. All right, well, what's going on here in the Protoss base? So we do have Storm now being researched. We've got range being researched. We got legs being researched. We got armor and weapons being researched. Rulebot decided right now he needs every Protoss scientist staring through a microscope and getting shit figured out, and that's what he's about to do. So once Storm comes online, there's like one or two things that might start happening. He might wait for this to push in, or he might poke out, see that this isn't that scary, and start trying to storm all over it. Right now, Dada has been focusing very heavily on just droning, right? Protoss is kind of contained in their little corner. And there we go. We're going to start off with the storms. Getting a nice chunk of Hydralisks there. And it does look like Dada realizes, okay, Protoss might be trying to get out on the board right now. Let's start floating away. But these guys are still slow. And by the way, we have a few drone kills here too. 3 drone kills by this DT. All these Overlords are super slow. Oh my gosh, he's going to feed more. Because this is, I think... Well, it's not a rally. He just must feel confident that an Overlord's going to show up in time. But really, like, there's no Overlord coming. And I love that this DT is just on hold position right here. Okay, there's the Overlord. It came out of the hatchery. And boom, the Hydralisks were all over it, just smothering the Zealot and the Loogies. Okay, now here we go. Protoss finally starting to break out on the map a little bit. Now, this is 2 Protoss bases to 4 Zerg bases. Let's see how Dada decides to start using all this larva that he has. He's getting Overlord speed right now. How are we looking on upgrades? Looks like we still don't have any upgrades beyond Hydralisk range. So he might lose a bunch of Overlords here. Except Rulebot's not moving forward, so probably not at the moment. But this is a part of that Overlord train that was sitting out there in front of the natural, and they're still retreating. It reminds me, like, I think I've brought this up a couple times, but like if you've ever seen Kung Pao Enter the Fist, where like the dude's running, and it's just like, I'm coming, and then like they look, they're like, hurry, and then he's like farther away, and he's like, I'm coming. That's kind of the speed in which Overlords move, but they're all souped up now. Off they go. So Rulebot, he knows about this base, right? He had the DT up there. This 12 o'clock base would be a good one for him to try to snipe. The natural is pretty heavily defended, right? He's got a ton of Hydralisks here. He's got a bunch of Sunkens. This one hasn't been confirmed yet. This one has not been confirmed. And this has a nice wide ramp, just like this one. So the ability of Rulebot to get up into these bases really quick with a lot of forces is going to be really strong. And we don't have any lurkers just yet. It looks like lurker aspect is being researched right now. And so once lurkers are on the field, this is going to become significantly more difficult. So I would have loved to see Rulebot be a little bit more aggressive with trying to take out one of these bases. But instead, he's opted to expand, get his third. Now, this is the mineral only, right? But that'll still help a little bit. Okay, so maintaining the high ground here. Rulebot's going to try to fend off these hydralisks that are kind of poking across. There's a whole bunch more down here. I'm curious if Dada's going to just try to go for this round. It looks like that's what he's doing. Okay, so he's aggroing all the zealots here towards this huge bulk of hydralisks, kind of fragmenting Rulebot's army. But it looks like, you know, Dada's kind of happy with just the skirmish. I think what he's trying to maybe do is, one, get an idea of what he's up against, and two, try to get those storms out, right? Like, keep poking in on the Protoss army to see if they'll just send some zaps around and waste that energy. Okay, a couple creep colonies and a sunken colony being thrown here at the 12 o'clock. Okay, here we go. Rulebot has identified this base over here at the 9 o'clock. Moving up with a few Dragoons. Hasn't lost anything yet. Killed one Hydralisk, and here's a big surround. Dada is going to be able to clean up this whole army if Rulebot's not careful. But Rulebot does take the perfect route to really kind of avoid the bulk of these Hydralisks. Now, right now, these Dragoons don't stand a chance, right? He might park them up here on the high ground, do what he can. But the thing is Dada's entire army is down here chasing these Dragoons. So I would love him to use this and go try to make something happen. And I think he's thinking the same thing. So here we go. You can see this wide ramp really allowing these units to just tear up here into the 12 o'clock. Now, the only real defense he has is this sunken giant storm going off on the drones. Another one going off right there, trying to catch any drones that might be running away. But, yeah, it looks like they're just kind of holding what they have. Now, we have another layer going on right here. Now, this might be just Dada trying to give it some extra HP to try to buy some time for these Hydralisks to make their way up. And you can see all over the map, the Hydralisks. He's got one contingent coming up here to try to defend. Looks like he did cancel that layer. That might have just been an accident then. But it looks like he's also pushing. So we see the 12 o'clock fight. We'll keep an eye on that, but I think Protoss is going to get cleaned up. Down here, big storm going off for Rulebot again. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was insane. That reminds me of like playing Doom, like old school Doom. And just like mulching demons everywhere. That's what that sounded like. It was just Hydralisk, freaking sashimi everywhere. Okay, so here we go. These Dragoons getting trapped here in this corner. Hydralisk showing no mercy. And Rulebot's got to be feeling pretty good, right? Like, that was really effective storms that fended off all those Hydralisks. And this is coming off of the back of him going up to the 12 o'clock and damaging the economy. So a lot more storms happening. That one was pretty good. There's an opportunity here. They're all weakened. Yeah, High Templar worth their weight in gold here. And this Dragoon's doing some good job just picking off the ones that are mostly damaged. Okay, in the meantime, Rulebot has gotten his fourth base up. So this one is warping in. It's obviously undetected. That went behind the push that Rulebot did. And so Rulebot just needs to kind of defend this base. This base is pretty tough to defend once it's identified. So what he's going to do, he's going to throw some cannons there, try to seal off this ramp. And it looks like he's trying to keep his army here at this third base, this mineral only, so that he can react in either direction. Down here to his natural, or up here to the fourth as needed. Now there is a probe here. It looks like he might be trying to go for a double expand. He is. So Dada needs to identify this and knock out one of these bases. I don't think you want Protoss to have access to 4 gases, especially when you're only on 4 bases yourself. So Dada is going to be trying to get this resaturated, and he might need to start expanding himself here soon. He has a lot of hatcheries and a lot of larvae, but he is kind of hurting on minerals at the moment. Now, when it comes to tech, right, it does look like we're getting carapace and missile attacks up, and we're sticking with our game plan of just having a metric F-ton of Hydralisks. Here we go. Big engagement here outside the 4th base for Protoss. Now, it looks like we've ran out of most of the storms. A couple more going down, though, as I say that. I guess you never really ever run out of storms. There's always another one somewhere. And the Hydralisks are pushing in, but there's a shit ton of cannons here. So this will help, especially when backed up by even more storms. So a ton of hydralisks go down. And something I want to point out, I didn't notice this early on, and maybe there's been some buildings built or something. I didn't realize that the drone count had been knocked down to 36 after the engagements at the 12 o'clock. So Dada kind of hurting on the drones. It might have been, this might not have been the timing he wanted to go for, or at least definitely not the route. He went and attacked this base, where I think this base might have been the one that he would have wanted to run up on. But I don't know if he even knows about this. He may not. Alright, so upgrade check. We are sitting at 2-1. Level 2 armor is on the way. As far as rulebot, rulebot's really sticking kind of gateway man on this one. And he's got 2-1 as well. And rulebot's been building a lot of cannons this game. Okay, so we are getting to the point where Zerg is looking at getting some lurkers thrown up. Now, there's a lot of observers here. Rulebot's ready for that. And Dada's doing a pretty good job of trying to take out as many of those as he can right now before the lurkers hit the field, which is, I think, a really good idea. Now, he's going to have to send more units here if he's going to defend this, and Rulebot is doing a good job of cutting the reinforcements off. Like, a large part of his army is just sitting here to prevent anything to come and help this 12 o'clock base. Now, we have enough energy. Is he going to storm? He might not. He might be waiting for some Hydra to show up, but here come the lurkers, and most of the observers have been knocked out, but Rulebot still has one of them. Still has one. Big storm there. Oh, man, this guy's got 1 HP. And here comes the observer. The observer got a little bit out of position there, so the units weren't able to see these lurkers for a while, but he does take out the hatchery. So this base has been annihilated. Now, up here in the top right, Dada is going to be getting another expansion to try to replace that, but this definitely puts Dada on a back foot, and I think Rulebot is sitting really pretty at the moment. Okay, units everywhere. Like, I'm looking at the mini-map, we just have, like, onesie-twosie dudes just running across the map all over the place. Now, one thing I really do like for Dada is that now that he has lurkers, he can just park a couple lurkers at the bases that he has and engage from there. Rulebot does not seem to have that many observers. He had one up here. I don't know where it went. It might have been knocked out by the Hydralisks. But he's going to be struggling to go through all these lurkers because after these engagements, like, he's running out of the High Templars as well. So it's not like he can just storm wherever he believes a lurker to be. So it looks like Rulebot is going to have to retreat for the moment. Now, it would be really lucky for him if he were to identify this top right base, but I don't think he's aware of it just yet. But Rulebot is sitting on 5 bases. Now, his mineral has mined out. I'm sorry, his natural is mined out and his main is mined out. So he's only got 3 mining bases, but so does Zerg. Zerg is sitting on 3 mining bases as well. 3 gases. Protoss has 4 gases. So, right now, Rulebot definitely, I think, in the lead. Dada's going to want to retake this base. And this base has been pretty much in the crosshairs of Rulebot this entire game. Yeah, he's going to check on it again. It's like his pet little target. He just wants to beat up on it whenever it shows up. And, you know, these units that were chased away a long time ago, towards the beginning of the game, I haven't seen any drones get sent this way. But this is one of those situations where you might, like, send a drone, forget about it, thinking, I'll go back to that in a minute and build my hatchery. And these guys will just, you know, kill the drone repeatedly. Ooh, this army running straight in through the lurkers. And this is what I was talking about. Like, Dada's going to have some time because there's just no observers on the field yet. And so he can kind of, like, his defense has just been upgraded drastically. Now, it does look like, unfortunate for Dada, Rulebot did identify this base in the top right, and there's just nothing there. So this is going to get schwacked by Rulebot. And it looks like Rulebot brought his own probe, and he's going to try to take it for himself. Yeah, you can see he's keeping the bulk of his army here down at the ramp. And we'll see if these Hydralisks can make something happen. Ooh, big storm as they're all running in. They're all coming in, targeting that Archon too. because that was where he had visibility. He wasn't aware of this force sitting here at the ramp, and so unfortunately all those hydralisks do get cleaned up, and the hatchery gets cleaned up. Oof, looking rough. Another big storm there, preventing these hydralisks from getting up on the high ground to contest this base. And this is really bad. Like, we're pretty much mined out at the natural for Zerg. Protoss is looking really good when it comes to economy. I'm trying to think what a Zerg player should do at this point in time. And there's so many cannons. This is absurd. This is one of those, like, I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it moments. And so he's just sitting there, like, I guess I'll just bolster the shit out of my defense. Okay, this drone's coming up here. This is, you know, drone was sent up here to hopefully get a base rebuilt, but there's just Protoss everywhere. I think this is probably game. T2 upgrades. You can see here in the production tab, like, that is just not building anything at the moment. Now just shot up to building 15 hydralisks. But here he comes. He's going for the third base. Again, all these cannons reinforced by storms makes it really hard to break through. A few Zerglings in the mix. All right, so some of the cannons are starting to fall. But I don't know if this is going to be enough. Where's the Protoss army, though? Looks like the Protoss army isn't really all that big. You know? Like, Rulebot's got 71 probes and only 140 supply. So, half his supply is just his probes at the moment. Now, to be fair, so is Dada's. And it's a much lower number. His supply is really, really low. And we might see a small skirmish up here as these hydralisks come in at the third again. So this might be a really good opportunity for Dada to start impacting the economy of Rulebot. Now here comes a High Templar, some more storms, some zealots. And this might be the first time that Dada becomes aware of this base. Now I'm sure he's probably assuming that this base exists, but I don't think he's poked up there and actually seen it. So the probes running that way might tip him off. All right, here we go. Another gigantic storm. Just can't escape the storms. All right. Now, all that gets cleaned up. The Nexus is still standing. Pretty much the damage here was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cannons and a few probes and some army. That's not going to be enough. Like, the probes just got moved up here. They're still mining. They're still active. You know, I think he had like 72 before that engagement, so we only lost a few of them. So Dada's definitely still on the back foot. Now, right now, we are starting to get upgrading of melee attacks. Might be seeing some attempts to send cracklings in to snipe Nexuses. And, you know, the forces have been pretty Dragoon heavy. So if you can mix in a bunch of these, like, cracklings, if he gets to that, with his Hydralisk force, he might be able to do some pretty serious damage. But right now, it looks like Rulebot is starting to push the natural, storming on top of the eggs, killing the larva. And here we go. We have 2 Sunkens. Oh my god. Those storms just annihilated all those Zerglings. Storm is absurd. Alright, little group of Hydralisks down here. Might try to finish this off, but there's just so much now. Like, Rulebot's engine is up and running. He's even got shuttles now. Not sure what the shuttle's doing. He might try to use it to try to like elevate her up to this high ground. Maybe even over here. Get past these lurkers. But with this supply, like Rulebot's maxed out. Dada's got 45 supply. It's over. But the storms keep coming, and they don't stop coming. Dada's really trying to make a fight of this, you know. The finals of NASL Season 1. in their group. There's a bunch of groups, by the way. There's a ton of groups of all varying skill levels. And it does look like these two players are pretty well matched. And there's the GG. Dada throws in the towel. Rulebot is going to get game number 1. All right, that was sweet. Let me see if I can figure out how to do the scoreboard real quick without, there we go, messing everything up. All right, so game 1 is going to go to Rulebot in this best of 7 series. Next game is going to be on the map called Citadel. Yeah, we're playing on funky maps in NASL, y'all. I've never played on Allegro or Citadel. I'm too new to the scene. All right, let's go into it. Game number 2, Citadel, Rulebot versus Dada. I'm excited. All right, here we are on Citadel. Here in the top left, we have Rulebot as our brown Protoss, coming off of a win in that first game of the series. Down here we have our orange Zerg. This is Dada, also known as Lust for Lings. I don't know if that's like a trade, like he'll get lustful if you give him lings, or if he's got a thing for Zerglings. Maybe both. Who am I to judge? All right, so what did we see last game? We saw an overpool come from Dada last game. We saw a Forge Fast Expand come from Rulebot last game. The thing with the Forge Fast Expand that was really interesting from Rulebot is he like feigned a cannon rush early on. Canceled the probe before it ended, or not the probe, the pylon before it ended. But that was kind of exciting, and that was when they were cross position. This time, we are not cross position. They're both on the left-hand side of this 4-player map. But it does look like we might be seeing a Forge Fast Expand again. And real quick, let's see if we can look at this whole map. So this is Citadel, right? 4-player map. And you can see here, it's kind of interesting. You got eggs on, excuse me, the main going into the natural. The natural has a really wide opening. So like when you're trying to wall off, it's kind of this weird diagonal here with unbuildable tiles, and kind of tough, right, to seal off. So we'll probably see the forge here, gateway here. It looks like he's putting a cannon right there. I don't know. It's kind of funky. You have this third base that's kind of towards the middle. This is a mineral only, and then you have the base on the side, which would be your gas option, right, or your fourth base. So really kind of a cool map, big central area, big walls here, and these big elevated pieces of terrain that kind of take you into the middle. But what's interesting about this as well is they're on the same side, but look at the route that the scouting and the ground units would have to take. They got to go down through the natural, up over the hill, over the other hill, actually not even this one, over the other hill, down through the natural, then up into the main. So kind of a strange routing, and you can see how that routing really screws up putting any bases here. Like these bases are really, really tough to hold. Anyway, let's go ahead and I guess get rid of this map because we have a whole bunch of links here, y'all. I kind of missed it, but it looks like Dada's not screwing around. Last game, he only built a few lings early on. It was 4, and it was mostly just to like scare away the potential, cannon rush that was coming his way. This time it looks like Dada's trying to be really aggressive, and there might be a world where he just runs by this. Like, you see how this opening is the opening that's closer to the entrance to the main base? Like, here we go. Okay, he's going to try to run in. Rulebot bringing the probes down. Is stopping them at the ramp. The cannon shots are still able to hit. A lot of Zerglings going down, but the probe damage is pretty heavy, and he gets a couple in. Okay, so he's going to be able to get really annoying here with these Zerglings. Now, they're kind of banged up, but it looks like they're already super fast. Do we already have speed? Now we'll see if Dada tries to get more Zerglings up in here. It does look like he has 6 more morphing. He's got his hatchery going up at the natural. But this is definitely not the situation that rulebot wanted to find himself in. You know, when you're doing this Forge Fast Expand, you're putting your cannons out here at the natural. Anything getting past that to your exposed and vulnerable main base, less than ideal. And Dada's doing such a good job here of just isolating these probes. There's a couple of banged up ones here. Gonna get a cannon down here in his mineral line. Probably a good call here for rulebot. That should shut down the majority of any Zergling harass, but you can see, geez, the probes are kind of derping out pretty hard right now. Yeah, you can see the chaos that this kind of generates in the Protoss player. Now, he only has a few seconds until the cannon finishes warping in. Is he going to get another probe? He does! 6 probes on that one Zergling. Disgusting. You can see up here 14 probes to 11 drones. Here we go. A much bigger force than before. This is enough to just take the cannon straight on. He does. Takes out the first one. Not a lot of surface area here, but Dada is going to still make it happen. And here we go. We've got 6 lings running amok, and there's the GG. Game 2 goes to Dada. We've got ourselves a series. Alrighty. So that's going to be a game for Dada. Next up, we are on Vermeer. Not to be confused with like the things that people stick to their teeth. When I'm super old and my teeth are all rotted, I'll get myself some veneers. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Going into Vermeer. This is rulebot versus Dada. Super fun series. Super fun maps. The maps aren't for everyone, though. I will admit that. I know I'm one of those people. I was like, man, I should play it in NASL. It's a really cool concept, really fun idea. I guess my okay didn't okay. But the maps are really strange, not gonna lie. When you give the freedom to the people to pick the maps they play on, never ever trust the people. All right, so we are on Vermeer, 4-player map. You can see here we have kind of the spirally, I guess, rotational symmetry going on. You have these high ground locations kind of towards the middle. You have a natural with a gas. You have a third here with a gas, and then a fourth here with a gas. There's gas everywhere. Right, that's kind of one of the big takeaways. On this map, they have spawned in the top portion, adjacent to each other again. In the top right, we have Dada, who just came off of a really cool win with a bunch of Zerglings attacking cannons in the last game. And in the top left, we have rulebot. Both players tied up in this best of 7 series. Let's see how it goes. Now, I want to pay a little bit of attention to Dada's build here. Last time he went really aggressive, and I kind of missed what he had done. It looked like maybe some sort of 9-pool build, whereas in game 1 he went over pool. Now, both games we've seen from rulebot, we've seen Forge Fast Expand. And in game 1, we saw the Fast Expand occur with like a pylon scout. He found him cross-map position, and he tried to go into like a cannon rush and then canceled the pylon. I didn't see the scout game 2. I didn't notice if a probe had actually left, and I don't think it did because, well, you know what? Maybe it did, because he did pull those probes to try to block the main with really good reaction timing. So anyway, we'll see how this goes. We have the spawning pool going down. We have the gas going down here for Dada, but we also have a bunch of probes on the map. We got probes going up here to the top right, probe going down here to the bottom right after scouting the first one. This is pretty early, it feels like. Looks like rulebot maybe having some shenaniganry planned up his sleeve. He's going to be parking a probe down here at the natural. Now, maybe not. It does look like he's just about to expand, but he has identified that he can probably do his Nexus first. That's the decision that he's made. But we have early Zergling aggression again. So these Zerglings are going to hatch before going for any type of expansion. And there's been 8 that's been made. So he's not even going to deal with this probe. He's scouted down here. He believes that he's not in the top right. And so this is kind of a roll of the dice here by Dada. Dada doesn't know that rulebot is in the top left. He might just be assuming it by the speed in which the probe got to him. And so he's just throwing these Zerglings over here, and they are going to arrive before these cannons are even done. Has Dada done it again with just the initial 6 lings? It looks like he might have. Here we go. This cannon is warping in. Let's see what kind of damage it can do. Not much. Gets 2 shots off, and the lings are here, and they're uncontested. There it is. Game number 3 is done. Dada takes the lead in this series 2-1 over rulebot. Well, Vermeer looked like a cool map. Like, that was pretty straightforward. But it did look like a fun map. So the next map we're going to be on is Apocalypse, which sounds pretty rad. Not going to lie. Let's go ahead and watch it. This is going to be game 4 of our best of 7 series in the very first NASL EF groups. Let's get into it. Okay, so Apocalypse is a 3-player map. It's going to be the first 3-player map that we've seen in this series so far. First non-4-player map that we've seen. So it does look like here we have rulebot spawning up in the 12 o'clock position. Down in the 4 o'clock position, we have Dada. Now, Dada, the past 2 games, has been able to take down rulebot with less than 10 lings, you know? like this has been the strategy. So I'm wondering if rulebot has a plan or a build that he can pull out to try to stem this, right? Because like if I'm Dada, I'm probably thinking to myself, especially having done that twice on 4-player maps, going into a 3-player map where it's easier to scout, easier to identify, and you might be able to hit a little bit quicker based on the map size, I might just do the same thing again, right? Don't fix it if it's not broke. And so if I'm rulebot, I'm probably thinking this series, I need to throw out a build that can defend this early ling pressure. And so he throws a pylon down here at the natural, but I'm not convinced that this is going to be a forge fast expand this time. If I were to guess, he might try to go into like an early gate. I don't know. And still get to the same end state, right? Like get a gate, maybe get a couple zealots, get that forge, then kind of expand. So we see the probe going now, and you can see with the mineral count that he's on. Well, we'll see. Hold on. He might throw the forge down. Okay, so he's sticking with the forge plan. Hey, it's rulebot. Glad you can make it. I didn't know how the time zones were going to be, but yeah, you're on TV again. We got to see your Storm Bonanza game 1. Just saw you get wrecked twice by Dada with his ling pressure. And we're going into Apocalypse. And Apocalypse is a cool map. One, I really like 3-player maps in general. I just think they're a lot of fun. Usually because there's no way of making every spawn equal. It's just not really a thing. With just the fact that you're playing on a square canvas, right? So I think that that's always really interesting. And then what I also really like about this map is the fact that it's the Mars theme, right? Like the red sand theme. I just remember growing up as a kid. I don't even remember the map that it was, but I had a lot of really like nostalgic memories of playing on this tile set. So like to see it. All right, so the probe has made its way into the main base. Bypass the natural here. And it looks like we're getting our gas, getting a cannon. Okay, so we are getting a gateway this time before we're getting a nexus. This is what I was talking about earlier where I was saying, okay, after the last 2 games, Rulebot's got to change something. Like, he can't keep dying to early lings every single time. Now, it looks like Dada wasn't going that route anyway. Dada also mixed it up. He was like, okay, I did it twice. Maybe let's throw something else in the mix. And so he's doing something a little bit differently. But he's going to take out that probe, head to his natural. And this is a cool map in the sense that your natural and main feel kind of seamlessly put together. So you can really rally a bunch of stuff here, and the mobility between your main and your natural is pretty high, which I guess is a two-edged sword, whatever you want to call it. Like, you can be attacked very easily if your natural falls, but you can also defend your natural and main together much easier, which I think is going to really benefit this kind of setup. But if a Hydra bust does get through this, like, those Hydras are going to be able to just go clear straight to the main super, super fast. So we'll see how it goes. See how it goes. We got a bunch of Lings out front. There are a couple of cannons. We already have our Zealot. And rulebot has brought a few probes down as well to start plugging holes. Dada getting his economy squared away. Still has a good amount of Lings. He's made 10 Lings so far. And he's going Spire. So we'll see if maybe we get some Mutalisk play out of this. And I think this is a cool idea, primarily from the speed in which the Mutalisk can get to rulebot's main base. Because the main base here, like, distance to the natural, is very, very short. And all of the defenses, generally, especially in like a ZVP, are all here at the natural, right? The cannons, the gateway, the production, everything starts off right here for quite a while. And so we'll see if we end up getting the Stargate. We already have the Cybernetics core going down. I imagine the Stargate will be coming up here shortly. We'll see if this pylon can reach. Maybe not. And we'll see if he goes Sares. If not, he might just have to go heavy cannons. Oh, okay, yeah, he built the Stargate back there. That's fine. We'll see if he ends up putting some cannons around his mineral line. All right, now we chill. So because he's going 2 hatch Muta, we're not seeing a third expansion, right? He's going to be milking these 2 gas, getting those Mutalisks out. We have 6 morphing in right now. What I'm curious about is how heavy of a punch they're going to be able to pack coming into the main. And I feel like it's going to be pretty decent. Like, the Stargate will be done by the time the Mutas come out. But he won't have a Corsair in time. So he's going to, yeah, he's going to need a cannon in the main, I think. Like, he'll be able to take these probes and shove them over to the natural. Ooh, double Stargate. Okay. So he's going to go heavy Corsairs this time. All right, but the Mutas are going to have free reigning over these probes for a hot minute. And if he's not careful about these Sares, like, I hope these Stargates are rallied straight to his natural on top of his cannons. Yep, they are. Okay, so the Corsairs tearing away. Oh, he's going to come back? Oh, no, this Corsair doesn't stand a chance. But, you know, if he was able to bait those into his cannons, that would have been great. Oh, you got to be careful. Got to be careful with this Corsair. Okay, rulebot doing a pretty good job of trying to buy some time to get some more of these Corsairs out. There's another one. It starts to get pounced on, but Dada, oh, this has to be so frustrating. He's getting kind of pulled apart every direction. Okay, so we have 3 Corsairs now. One of them's pretty banged up, though. And the Mutas, you know, they're taking out a Stargate is no small feat for these Mutas. I wish he would just target this one, though. This one mostly dead. This one's the only one that's blinking, so I get the logic there. There we go. Kill the pylon. It's the only thing powering all 3 of these buildings. There we go. No more worries about Stargate-related shenanigans. Now, the Corsairs decided to bounce. They are going to go hunting for Overlords and also get a nice little scout of what's going on in the Zerg base. Meanwhile, Mutalisk freaking rave party going on over here, just slinging glaives everywhere. And we're going to park some Scourge over the Stargates for some good measure. Now, I think the Scourge might be better utilized to actually target the Corsairs directly. We have some hatching from home that might be able to do that. But this is looking crazy. We're rebuilding Stargate down here. There were a couple other buildings that ended up getting canceled. And it looks like, okay, so Dada definitely dominating the main at the moment. I do think that we need to be careful, though, because stacked mutas against all these cannons and the Corsairs is no joke. Like, the muta count has been effectively destroyed. But Rulebot doesn't have, like, anything else. He's got this one Corsair. Let's see if a Scourge can get in there. Okay, one blew up. Let's see if another one. There we go. The Corsairs have been knocked out. Rulebot trying to rebuild his main. He's still in this game. He's still in this game, y'all. But Dada, you know, behind all of this, I feel like Dada may be kicking himself at the moment because that fight over the natural on top of those cannons with all those Corsairs really did a pretty big number on him. And now we have Stargates producing Corsairs again. We're spending a lot of money and gas on these Scourge, which are now parked over cannons. We need to get them out of there. Another pylon going up. So how does Rulebot transition out of this? Rulebot seems to have stabilized for the moment. He's about to have 3 Stargates producing. I'm kind of curious what the transition is here. I guess get your Nexus up and just, I don't know. I do feel like we should probably stop Mutalist production. Because I just don't think, like, unless we had a ton of gas, which we don't, right? We're kind of stuck on the 2 bases at the moment. Like, I just don't think that the mutas are going to be enough. But when he has 3 Stargates as his main production for Rulebot, and we think the Corsairs are going to be the primary unit that's being made, I think Hydras might be the way to go. And that looks like that's what Dada's doing. He's starting to transition to Hydra production. But we're going to need some more economy. So I do hope... Yeah, okay, so Dada is trying. He's trying to get a 3rd base. And Rulebot sneaking a Zealot over here to prevent that 3rd base from going down was a pretty big deal. Like, that was good. I don't know where that drone went, but it needs to come back and throw down a hatchery immediately. Dragoon running around. We've got some Scourge kind of sneakily placed in the corner to pick up any Corsairs that stray off course too much. Love to see it. And you can see, right? Like, if he's got the 3 Stargates, so what do you make? Well, let's make some Corsairs. He's going to have a lot of Corsairs. If it flies, it dies right now. And so we need to be careful about these Overlords, right? Like, he might have that critical mass where he can shoot down Scourge before they connect if we're not careful. But Dada's game plan right now is let's get Hydralists, let's try to make a bust. Because if all of his money's going to Corsairs, he has nothing else on the ground. And honestly, I don't think he needs that many Hydralists to power through this. I don't think this cannon is even being powered by these. Like, Hydralist bust this pylon, and you're good. But yeah, the mutas are going to get shredded. There's so many Corsairs. There's so many Corsairs that these Corsairs aren't even going to care about the few Hydralists on the ground here. Like, they're just going to shred every Overlord that pops. Gosh dang, there's so many. We have 8. Honestly, I think Dada can make it happen right now. If Dada were to charge in at this natural, I think he could probably charge through it. But more cannons coming up for Rulebot, hardening the position. And, you know, our window's going to close here for Zerg pretty quick if we don't make something happen. So okay, so he's waiting for Hydralisk range. I think that'll be the trigger. That'll be the trigger here. So Hydralisk range is about to finish. Okay, just finished. We're starting to see movement. Starting to see movement from the Hydralisk. Here we go. All right, he's going in. 1 cannon down. 2 cannon down. 3 cannon down. Getting the Zerglings in the mix too. Eating up some of these shots from these cannons. Now, unfortunately, these Hydralisks, they're kind of aggroed on to the gateway, the forge. These probes making things a little bit messy. Rulebot is doing a great job of holding this position at the moment. He is looking like he is going to survive to fight another day from these Hydras. But it's not done, right? This cannon barely hanging in there. The forge just went down, so no additional cannons going to be permitted for Rulebot. Dada is slowly making it happen. Now, these cannons are still causing a little bit of problems. But he's keeping these Hydralisks out of range. Zealots coming in. Oh, fighting with the probes. I think he held, but check this out. Look at this huge stream of brown. Brown stream of death coming in through here. This might be enough to close the door on rulebot. Getting the Hydralisks in position. Now, meanwhile, the fleet of Corsairs bouncing across the map. You can see here just a bunch of Overlords just chilling. Like, okay, don't find me. They're just hiding. All right, we do have High Templar, but Storm is not done. Storm's not done. Storm is still being researched, and the Hydras are in the main. Now, a few cannons have been placed in the main during that engagement. So rulebot was still planning like, hey, you know, if my natural falls, I need to be able to have a position to fall back to. And it looks like Dada is playing this game where he's just like forcing rulebot to flip back and forth between his main and his natural. But this is looking pretty good for Dada at the moment. Now, a Dragoon is up here in the top right. Does look like it has a few kills. Maybe there was some drones up here, but like Dada's economy not doing so good. Yo, Goon, what's up, man? Thanks for the follow. We're watching Rulebot versus Dada. NASL Groups EF Finals. All right, so the natural is going to fall. This game has been kind of weird. Bunch of Zealots ready to defend. Storm has completed, by the way. So Storm is available for Rulebot. And, you know, Rulebot's starting to build DTs as well. And I really like the DT play. I wish that he had more of them, because with the amount of Corsairs he has, like any Overlord that even peeks out is just going to be shredded. I think. Where are the Corsairs? Did they die? There's like one left down here. I'd be really... I missed it. He must have lost his entire fleet of Corsairs somewhere. All right, this is looking pretty bad. Pretty bad for Rulebot. He's pretty much just stuck in this corner. Doesn't have pretty much any economy. Dada's going to be able to get this third base up. Yeah. I'm really curious what happened with those Corsairs. I bet what happened was he sent the Corsairs here to try to take out these Overlords. The like 4 Mutalisks that were there and the few Hydralisks probably just shredded the Corsairs after they did their work, because it was at the same time as this big attack. So kind of a bummer there. I think if we had kept those Corsairs alive, huge Storm, absolutely gigantic. But if he had kept those Corsairs alive, I think, you know, that DT earlier might have killed all of this just by itself. All right, so for the first time this game, Dada does have a superior worker count. And he's just slowly, surgically putting the stranglehold on Rulebot at the moment. Rulebot supply blocked. Most of his gateways are unpowered. He has 2 powered gateways at the moment. Zealot's trying to sneak out, maybe do a little bit of a counterattack. Looks like they're trying to weaken up the reinforcements. And, you know, what we've seen from both of these players is neither one is really exiting these games until they absolutely have to. We saw it from Dada game 1. We're seeing it from Rulebot right now. Like, if I was Rulebot, I would have GG'd. Probably after the Muta harass. When the Mutas came in and destroyed my main base. By the way, this is all rebuilt stuff, guys. Like, all this was gone. I would have probably, like, bounced. Not Rulebot. Not Dada. This is their tournament life. But the situation just continues to get worse. The third base up here starting to actual mine. More Hydralisks flowing across. You know, the pylon has been rebuilt, so we have all the gateways up. And Rulebot does have a little bit of a bank to work with. Like, he can at least continue to pump out some Zealots, but we're not seeing the production really all active at the moment. And, I mean, eventually, like, if nothing changes, if Rulebot's not able to get, like, just some massive storms, then eventually, like, just time is on Dada's side. Dada's just going to hit critical mass here, and it's going to be over. But Dada's he's being very respectful of what's going on here on Rulebot's base. And what I also like, now it looks like Dada might be trying to expand right now, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Dada's just taking this drone and just scouting out the other bases, because when you're attacking someone and they haven't GG'd yet, and they're in this position, you gotta be thinking to yourself, they've got something else. But Rulebot didn't, threw in the GG, and that gives Dada his 3rd win of the series. So 3-1 right now, Dada to Rulebot. Let's go again and get set up for game number 5. We are on match point. Not the map. Match point is in Dada only has 1 more to go. Next map. This is a map that I've heard a lot about, but haven't played on before. This is Neo Dark Origin. It's a 2-player map. It's also like the inspiration for that map we had recently. I forget what it was called. I don't remember what it was called. But it was a cool map. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Game number 5. And this is a 2-player map. We'll go ahead and look at it a little bit. So 2-player map. Up here in the top left, we have our orange Zerg. This is Dada. 3-1 in his favor at the moment. Rule point. Litmus. That was the one. Thanks, Rulebot. Down here in the bottom right, we have Rulebot, our red Protoss. Now, this is a 2-player map, cross spawn, and you have these bridges, right? These 3 bridges is the primary feature that allows you to get to the center of the map and cross the map. You also have another avenue of approach up here in the top right by taking these ramps. You can go up and around this 4th base location, the 3 and the 9, to get into the middle of the map here. All the bases have gas, which is nice to see. And you also have access to these corner bases through these destructible doodads, right? These stasis cells. So, cool map. I think it's nice because of the simplicity of it. It looks like kind of just a 4-player map that they just smushed the corners in together, and you're good to go. So, anyway, let's go ahead, conceal that map again. Let's watch Rulebot go out and do his pylon scout. So, we haven't seen a 2-player map yet. We have seen aggression from Dada. We've seen attempted, or at least pretended, cannon rushes from Rulebot. This is a 2-player map. 2-player maps, I think, generally inspire aggressive play. And so we'll see if we get that from these players. We do have the Forge going down here at the natural for Rulebot. And we have an overpool going on here for Dada. Ooh, Probe actually gets knocked out by the drones there. A little bit of an early death there for our Protoss scout. We have our first cannon on the way. So, I mean, in the 2 games where Dada was able to sneak Lings in, games 2 and 3, the wall, the choke here at the natural, they were both big, if I remember right? This one, much easier to wall off. Much easier to wall off, much easier to clog with probes, just for awareness. Like, it's a pretty tough natural to crack. You can't get that surface area. Does look like Dada's getting his hatchery here at the natural. He's got 4 Lings, just the 4. So this looks like kind of a rehash of game number 1 so far. Biggest difference, double gateway. Double gateway. So instead of throwing down a Nexus here, does that block the Nexus? Maybe not, but it looks kind of close. We are going to have a second gateway coming out for our Protoss players. So this is kind of a big deviation from the builds we've seen from Rulebot so far. And we'll see if Dada, generally what these Lings will do is they'll poke in, they'll take a few hits, maybe lose a Ling, but they'll get vision to ensure that expansion is going down. Let's see if Dada does that. I don't think we've seen that so far. Right now, he's only seen this much. This is the vision that Dada has exposed right now. So he doesn't know. And when he does know, or if he does poke in, he'll see it now. But he would also see this gateway. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Second hatchery. Getting a couple more lings. Alright, we're chilling, y'all. We are chilling. Great day of StarCraft. You know, actually, NASL, I imagine anyone watching this right now is probably coming from that. But if you're not coming from that, you should check it out. Like I said, it's Maniac Ben runs it. I'm getting told to look at the bottom left of the map. Oh, okay, so Dada is mining out this mineral field, trying to go for like a backdoor sneaky attack. And one of the things that is a trick that you can do with Zerg specifically is the drone, if it takes minerals and tries to form an assimilator, one, it heals the drone, but two, it gets rid of those minerals. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, we do have Zealots and Lings going at it. The Lings came out on top, so this is looking really scary for our Protoss player, especially since he doesn't know about this. He doesn't know that all these Lings might be coming through his back door straight into his main. And just like Litmus, you have this second ramp, right? Which in Litmus, there used to be like a mineable base here. It was a little bit of a different map that was inspired off this one. But this can be super, super sneaky. So, you know, Dada is trying to go for it. And let's see how much minerals we have left. We have 16 minerals. So 2 more trips from this overworked drone, and we might get some Lings straight into the main. So scary moment about to happen, and you can see, oh my gosh, Dada is going for it. This is a practice build. This is a build for the map. Dada prepared for this. I wonder if this was something that maybe Rulebot had thought about, because these maps are obviously being used in this finals series, but they were a part of the season, right? And so if they checked each other's replays, or if they were aware, or you know, had played other people that have done these tricks, maybe they'll know. But this is about to open up. The drone is about to get it, and we are going to see a flood of Lings. This might be the moment Dada crushes this last game and takes the title. We are on match point here for Dada. He only has to win one more match. And here come the Lings now, going straight into the main. Going to take out this cannon. Going for the probes. So many probes about to just get massacred. They're not even fighting back. They are lost. All right, the Zealots are getting spun up. Going here to the ramp. Okay, some of the probes going to try to escape. Look at all of these Lings. Holy crap. Holy. Oh, these Zealots need to survive. They need to survive. The one thing that Rulebot has going for him is that Dada put all of his larvae into these Lings. He's got 13 probes, y'all. Like, this is a Ling all in. But, you know, as we've seen in the past few games, neither one of these players are saying GG. Nope. They're like, I didn't hear no bell. So anyway, Rulebot going into more Zealot production, getting ground weapons. He's got all of his mining going on here at the natural. He's supply blocked at the moment. So even if he wanted to make more, he just can't. Because he's supply blocked, he's about to be even more supply blocked as the probes continue to fall. And so, or not the probes, the pylons. So he's building more cannons, getting a pylon, rebuilding some of his tech. He's going to try to make a last stand here at his natural while all these Zerglings just ate through his main. Oh my god. Okay, a few Lings jumping in here. They're seeing the field of cannons. Not really able to get a whole lot done. Now with this amount of Zealots, this amount of cannons, with this type of ramp and choke, this is actually a little tough for Dada to get in. So Dada's going into droning, right? He's got 19 drones right now. He's got his third hatchery up. If I were Dada, I would start taking up the map. Just start taking up the map everywhere. In fact, like, build a hatchery like right here. Just to shorten the time where like units can start chipping in, because you're going to have that economy benefit, you know, because like he's stuck on just one mining base, that you can just waste stuff and just send waves. Okay, Data sitting at 52 supply, 44 supply for our Protoss player. Now the cannon's doing a good job of covering this ramp at the moment, so anything that comes down here, not just facing zealots, but also going to have to face these cannons. Now we need to be very careful. Rulebot needs to play this very, very safely. Like if I were Rulebot, I'd be looking at every single unit, right? Like you only have one screen of stuff going on. Like get your zealots that are hurt in the back, right? The fresh ones up front, and wait until you have critical mass where you can retake your main. That would be like my thought process. Like he has some pylons. Honestly, I don't know. It looks like he's going to try to just take the fight to Dada. Oh my gosh, these Lings, they're all on hold position. Now Dada just barely sees them. Lings do not have the greatest vision in the world. Gonna shred that small little group. Gonna come down. You don't want to fight on the bridge with the Lings. Gonna lose a few of them for free. Okay, here comes a big wave of Lings. Dada throwing them all into the natural. Lings popping like popcorn down here. That did not get anything done. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Rulebot going straight across the map with all of his zealots. We have a creep colony going down, but it's not going to be as sunken in time. This is not how Dada thought this was going. All right, here comes the zealots. Ling's going to try to buy some time. More Lings coming in, flowing in. Now, Dada did do a really good job of droning up, so he can probably take some damage with the drones, fight with some of them, and be okay. First Sunken has shown up. We've got more Lings being produced. And check this out. We got Storm being produced. Where the heck did we get it? We crammed in archives down there. All right, we still have zealots running around. We got one in the mineral line starting to go to work on some of these probes. Oh, no, there's a second one. So Rulebot doing a good job of just kind of generating some chaos inside of Dada's base. Dada might be losing the grip here on Rulebot's main. You can see the zealots kind of running around, checking things. It looks like actually they're just kind of having a pathing issue, trying to go around this back door. But Rulebot's in a situation where he might actually be able to start rebuilding. Now he's got the money. Maybe he can throw his main back up. Maybe he can go over here, close off that back door, take this one first, like make this defensible, then take his main. We have zealots going all the way around the left-hand side. He's going to find this third base undefended. Now, as far as units are concerned, we have a good deal of Zerglings, but not a ton, right? Like, this is a pretty hefty amount of zealots, and you can see they have +1 attack, +1 armor about to finish. Oh, this hatchery is going down. Yeah, Dada recognizes it too. He's like, I'm going to conserve combat power. Let's go back to my Sunkens where I can fight. And now all of a sudden, Rulebot is the one with map control. Now here goes a pylon. It looks like the Lings were trying. Now this pylon legitimately looks in the way of any Nexus opportunity, so this might get canceled. Doesn't. Instead, we're going to build a cannon. Oh my gosh, it doesn't block the Nexus. Holy crap. Like, if you showed me a picture of that setup and said, like, I'll bet you $1 that doesn't block the Nexus, I wouldn't believe you. All right, here come the zealots. This is the kind of shit that makes people go, like, Protoss is ridiculous. You know? This is why people hate Protoss. Like, Rulebot should have been dead. But it looks like we have a little bit of a game ahead of us. So, we do have some Storm. We've got some High Templar back here. The area is pretty hardened up with all these cannons. We have 3 gateways down here. This is a mess, right? Like, this Sim City, if you want to call it looks more like Roller Coaster Tycoon, you know? Like, this is just, like, crap everywhere, loop-to-loops. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Down here, though, Rulebot is starting to rebuild a little bit. Now, it's one of those balancing acts in this situation between rebuilding and catching back up and making sure you have enough army to either keep the opponent busy, keep their own expansions down, and keep yourself from dying. So the fact that he's relying on so much static defense, I think is a little helpful in this particular situation. He's got a couple zealots at this ramp. Good call, right? Don't fool me twice. And you can just, oh man, so much static defense. But we're starting to throw down some gateways too. Yeah, rulebot had a good amount of money banked up after, you know, playing with his zealots over in Dada's base for a while. And Dada, I really want to see Dada just start expanding again. But I think those zealots kind of spooked him, right? I don't think he expected to get a counterattack that punched as hard as it did. Right now we're at 20. Holy crap! That's a lot of lurkers. That is a lot of lurkers. So I kind of like this as well. And as far as order of operations of like getting a bunch of lurkers versus expanding across the map, I'm not entirely sure. But we do know, like, Rulebot's not even close. Like, he doesn't have any robo, right? Like, he's not going to have observers. What he does have is a bunch of cannons, though. So I don't know if these are going to be offensively aimed. It looks that way. Try to maintain the contain. Maybe try to break through. But I kind of wish Dada would just be like taking bases everywhere. This is wild. We're 15 minutes in and both players have 2 bases. All right, we are just going to sprinkle lurkers everywhere. I kind of want Dada to bring a couple of these forward as well. Just to hit these. Maybe that's a bad idea. It would eat up some storms. I don't even know if he's aware that there's High Templar either. Like, this game state's so strange. All right, anyway, let's look at Protoss' main base. This is the rebuilt, the new and improved Rulebot main base. We have range being researched at the moment. Dada's doing a good job of really just like completely saturating in front of the natural with units. He hasn't been over here in a while, but he does have an overlord that I believe, yeah, is just staring at this little group. There might be a moment where, like, if Rulebot tries to expand out here, that might trigger an attack. We're also waiting for +1 missile attack. That might trigger an attack. But here comes some Hydralisks now. So the Hydralisks going to try to probably clean up these units. We'll see if that triggers additional units to be sent over there from Protoss. I don't know how seriously Rulebot is taking this base and this like avenue of approach. It seems like just having early warning is enough at the moment, and then he'll clean up this force that's kind of stuck down here with his units. Big storm. The Hydralisks are going to have to tuck tail and run. Okay, meanwhile, we're looking at supply. We're even on supply. Still only 22 workers. There's a DT here. No Overlord. I wonder if this DT, like, Dada might be aware of this DT simply because it was parked where the hatchery would go. So I wonder if, like, maybe he was trying to build the hatchery and it was like, sorry, can't do that, bro. But, you know, maybe Rulebot actually did move this off to the side beforehand. Let that hatchery build. And then he'll bring it back and kill drones. But it's a trick that he's done before. It's something that Dada might be expecting or aware of. Could be an option. Yeah, we're going to be seeing an Overlord come over here just to cover the base. But both players paying pretty good attention. And Rulebot gets the DT out of there. All right, still even on supply. I'm hearing things shoot. What are we shooting at? Okay, we're killing the stasis cell. / stasis prison. This is wild. It's wild that Rulebot's still in this game. This just goes to show, like, you have to kill all of Protoss in order to kill Protoss. And this army is so gigantic, too. I really wonder if there might be a way to push in here. But, I mean, if we're looking at even supply and you count all the static defense, that's not eating supply. You know, I guess rulebot does have a pretty significant force on the defense. All right, getting the third base up for Dada. That's good. Want to keep making more. Fourth base potentially going up here in the top right. Love to see it. Couple Hydralisks on defense, so very disciplined expansion. Now, it looks like rulebot might be doing the same, right? He's going to seal this off and maybe get his own expansion up here. I don't see a probe yet. But that also might be just his primary attack route, right? Because if he keeps moving out of this location, he'll continue to hit this third base. So we have kind of this weird swirl pattern where all the Zerg attack force is going this direction towards this natural, and all the Protoss attacking is coming up here towards the third. So fourth base going down for Dada. Very good. We have a field of lurkers all nicely spread out. Nice storm defense. And here's a hatchery. Yes! I hope he starts plunking down Sunkens. This is nuts. You know, I actually recommended this earlier. Remember I was saying, like, just put a hatchery right here. And then I got the heads up that he was doing a backdoor freaking attack. Actually, that might have been a different map. That might have been a different game. But either way, I'm loving to see it. Okay, so Overlord's starting to get popped. That's frustrating. Does supply block Dada for the moment. And this is actually forcing a little bit of redistribution of units. Yeah, Dada has to respect this. Now down here, Protoss is taking third base. Starting to basically try to take all the ground here at the bottom and push his way up. Oh yeah, you're right, Hazred. A lot of this is probably unbuildable, huh? Yeah, my knowledge level of this map is very low. But this game is just super wild. Okay, I want to pay attention over here to this hatchery. Because he did it for a reason, right? And I think it's Sunkens. Which is awesome. That's just so funny. Because, like, I would have been thinking, like maybe race up to Defiler. You know? I would have been thinking maybe race up to Guardian. Mostly because of, like, the structure of this map and the fact that everything he owns is, like, on the edges of his natural. Oh my gosh. I see what you mean. Okay. Can he even fit a sunken? Oh, that's so unfortunate. Well, at least his, you know, we basically removed defender's advantage. This is cool. This is cool. Yeah, I don't even think he can fit a sunken right there. So you can see that the creep's not spreading into the unbuildable terrain, guys. Like that's what's happening. So basically this looks like it's only here so that like Terran can build a turret, you know, like that's the only reason. Meanwhile, we got Hydralisks jumping all over the place. This base is still healthy, happy, alive. Rulebot has kind of moved up to the next intersection to prevent Zerg forces from going everywhere, and he continues to amass his army down here at his third base. Now, the natural has mined out, so that's kind of a big bummer. And big surround going on here for Zerg. No Overlord, though, but with no other army, it may not be worth this DT taking this fight on alone. But, you know, this is the nearest Overlord. I don't know if we have Overlord speed yet. This DT might be a little annoying. So, anyway, he's going to have to go home. Yeah, we don't have speed yet. The Overlord's going to come and allow that army to take out that DT, which just happened. Okay, we do have observers out. This is just too funny. 4 bases, got it. Let's go ahead and do an upgrade check. We're at 0-0. We are getting Overlord speed. For Protoss, we're at 3-1, y'all. About to hit 3-2. Okay, so Dada is way behind on upgrades. And yeah, you're right, Hazareth. You could probably throw a proxy building there if you need to. Like a proxy hatch. Okay, so Rulebot's starting to push out, and he's got a pretty scary force. This is I'm going to try to go schwack a base force, and there's not a lot going on here. A lot of lurkers not yet morphed in. The entirety of the army is down here at Rulebot's natural. There's not a lot to defend here. Now, there is an observer here. So if we do get these lurkers out, they will be able to get targeted, and you can see he canceled, right? We're going straight into Hydralisk. The Hydralisk is going to jump out, kill the Zealots. We have more Hydralisk rallied out here outside the natural. What do we got going on here? Another pronged attack coming from Protoss. This High Templar just saying screw it. He had had enough of ire. Sunken's going down. And Storm. Freaking Storm. It's always Storm. Rulebot doing a really good job of utilizing this high ground. Utilizing those storms. These trades are going pretty well for him, I would say. And it's diverting a lot of forces from this natural. Like, this natural containment that Dada had, it's been pretty severely diminished. Right? Like, there's an open path, essentially, right here. Because all of those lurkers have been knocked out. Okay. The Protoss forces have also been diminished pretty heavily up here. And the defenses at this third base, which was originally kind of like the hard point that Rulebot had generated for himself, needs to be replenished. So we're about to kind of hit parity again. A little bit of a containment on the Protoss. And so I'm curious to see what Rulebot's plan is for breaking out. He might just try to Abass here, break out, and try to maybe take this base. I think that's probably the plan. But what I'd like him... I don't know. I just feel like he's being very comfortable with this being here. Good Storm, aggroing in the Hydras. Continuing to chip away at this force. Ooh. Ooh. Could you... How many storms does it take to kill Overlords? Could you imagine, like, quadruple storming this group of Overlords? He gets supply blocked at, like, 10. Look at all these eggs. It's like sealing this bridge, forcing all units to just, like, go into these lurkers. Weird game, man. These games have been absolute bangers. This is probably not how Dada thought this game was going to go after that initial Ling backdoor attack. I'd be so pissed off if I was Dada. Alright, we got fifth base going on here. By the way, main effectively mined out. Natural running low. Oh, okay, so this used to happen on Litmus as well. And I'm wondering if this is something that he's already identified or if it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening. So all these drones, they will bounce back and forth forever. Big storm on the drones there, getting killed. This is an annoyingly sized force. And the Sunken is not defending this hatchery at all. I guess if the goons keep moving up, it will. But the Sunken has gone down. Undefended base. You see Zerg scrambling all over the place. These aren't A-moved. Oh my gosh! They're just move command. Oh no. That's a feel bad for sure. Okay, but the goons are turning into goon juice up here in the top left. Observer still alive at the moment. The reinforcing Protoss units did a really good job of preventing that flank. Lurkers still keeping this hatchery alive. For whatever this hatchery is worth. A second hatchery! Dude, Dada, I really wish he would just build one here. Like, at least mine from the place. That's funny. That's funny. Just try here. Alright, Hydralisk poking into this third base. Now, okay, so Protoss is broke, by the way. Like, he's got a little bit of a bank, but this is mined out, this is mined out. This is all Rulebot has going on. And I'd also like to point out, we're at like almost 28 minutes. This game, I thought that was going to be done at like the 5-minute mark. Still going. Oh, this is gross. Dragoon range, allowing him to just kill this decorative hatchery. Ah, sad story. Sad story. Everyone pour one out for the really cool decorative hatchery. Now, Dada needs to get this mining again. By the way, drones still bouncing back and forth. This is such an annoying feel bad. I'm trying to remember why they do this. It has something to do with like the proximity of where you're telling them to go. Normally that's with like returning minerals though. I don't know, but this, like, if Dada watched this replay and saw that he had 7 drones just, I don't know, bouncing back and forth repeatedly, additional rage induced. Okay, big storms there, knocking out the first group of Hydralisks. Second group showing up. Still more storms. There's always more storms. Now, this is a pretty big deal, actually, that I kind of wish Dada was pushing harder on this location, because if rulebot needs another base, right? And he's going to probably try to take this base. Dada's win condition right now is to just prevent this base from being taken. If that happens, we're good. Rulebot is also trying to break out of his natural, and he's slowly chipping away. This hasn't really been reinforced. We have lurkers up here at the bridges. We have additional lurkers morphing right here at the second decorative hatchery. Ooh, nice storm there. God dang, man. Storm. Oof. Yeah, Robot's doing a pretty good job of taking favorable trades here in front of his natural. He's moving up. He has his probe. He's starting to secure this base. This is the key to the game. By the way, drone's still dancing. Now, there's a moment where Dada's going to come here, realize he's mined out, and be like, okay, drones, go mine somewhere else, and he's going to notice this. But it hasn't happened yet. We have this base mining. This one now kind of being covered by the defense that's here. But Dada has to know that this is key terrain right now. Robot continuing to get some damage here at this base in the top left. This is a cool map, man. I like this map. Absolute slobber knocker. 30 plus minutes after playing 4 other games. These players have to just be smoked right now. Storm's finishing off all the drones at this base. That puts Zerg on 2 mining bases, Protoss on 1. Protoss trying to get this one up at the 9 o'clock. Definitely don't want that to happen. Oh my gosh. So you know that moment I said where he was going to recognize these drones weren't mining and that he would send them somewhere? Well, he did. Oh no. What is that? That's a lot of drones, guys. That is a lot of drones. Ugh, that sucks. Not the first time I've seen it. Won't be the last. I saw it on Litmus. There was a game I played where that happened to my opponent. And we laughed about it after the fact, but yeah, kind of a bummer pathing situation there. All right, this base in the top left has been knocked out. So Zerg is now on 2 mining bases. Protoss getting the second one up for themselves. This is wild. Honestly, I kind of want Dada to just, like, seriously, I just want him to build a hatchery here. Even mine right here. With all these guys. I'm sorry, Dada. This is a bummer. This is a bummer. Bunch of cannons again. Bunch of High Templar. We're getting shield. Okay, let's do an upgrade check. Earlier when we checked, Dada effectively had no upgrades and Robot had very high upgrades. Right now, we're at 3-3. We're getting shield upgrades now. We're at 2-0 for Zerg. So we've been neglecting upgrades a little bit for Zerg, and I think that might be contributing to the trades that we've been seeing. Like, Robot's been having some, like, very slow, grindy, attrition-based momentum building for himself here. And it might hit kind of a peak if Dada doesn't try to catch up on that. Especially with, you know, plasma shields getting upgraded. Like, look at this. Look how long it's taking these Zerglings to kill these Dragoons. Like, they're just not doing damage. That was insane. Hydra's being baited into the cannon line. Couple Dragoons staying here, preventing this base from being remade. Drones droning mindlessly. Okay. What's the next step here? Like, it kind of seems like both players are just kind of doing the same thing repeatedly, right? Like, just make a bunch more Hydralisks, just make a bunch more gateway units. And I guess that's fine. But how cool would a recall be, right? Oh, man, this wasn't the move. This wasn't the move. Oh, no. I think Dada, that might have been the turning point right there. You can see the supply flip-flop super hard. Losing all of those lurkers. Those lurkers were keeping rulebot at bay. Like, rulebot was getting a lot of decent trades out here, but he was never able to completely push because, I mean, there was like 20-something lurkers out here. Like, there was a lot. Like, there might have been a point earlier on where you can cram 20 lurkers right here, but, like, that was a bummer. That was a bummer. I'm sure Dada's unhappy with how that trade went. Okay. So, like, his robot's little singleton units that are pushing out periodically, they're starting to catch a window of time here where he might be able to take this out. And if this falls, like, there's nothing here, right? This one, I can't believe this is almost mined out. How long has this game been going? 35 minutes? Holy crap. Okay, we're trying to rebuild this base for Dada. Probably the best choice. There was a period of time where I was saying, yeah, you should just build your base here if you're going to put hatcheries here. That might have passed. I mean, he's going to have to eventually if this game keeps going on. And honestly, if we were just mining from here with these guys, looks like these guys gave up. At least you'd be denying those minerals for your opponent. Like, this is that point in the game where it's like, okay, should I be getting queens? Right? Like, should we start thinking about super late game minerals are all mined out? How do we get incremental advantage kind of situation? Maybe. All right, don't push too far. There we go. Okay, trying to make a little push here up into this 5th base. This is not going to be enough, but he's going to be able to plink off a few of these cannons. Freaking Storm, dude. Storm is so stupid. I say that, and I know if I transitioned to playing Protoss, like, my Storms just wouldn't work. No, Robot's good with them. You know, if you have enough cannons and enough Storms, you're good to go. More Storms. Yeah, so he's seeing that this base is starting to be rebuilt. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw... I mean, where's the army? Like, does Protoss have an army? It looks like it's mostly High Templar. Which is kind of good, right? Like, again, I was talking about it. We're at that situation where we need to start being thoughtful about mega late game energy-based units, spellcasters, that can get you incremental value when like, money's gone. Like, Dada's sitting at 30 minerals. Oh, no. These guys are going to go over, and then this is just going to get stormed to oblivion. More storms. We're seeing the supply drop down. Data's at 67, 68. You know, 70 minerals. Rulebot might have pulled this shit off. And that has got to be the most tilting thing ever after how the game started. Okay. Looks like we're getting armor now. Getting +1 carapace for our Zerg. Good try, probes. Good try. Ooh, we're storming overlords, baby. Would have been cool earlier on. Right now, it doesn't matter so much. Probably save those storms for breaking these lurkers. Gonna finally kill the second decorative hatchery. Hey, there we go. Dada's getting the hatchery over here at this base. I don't think the timing is best, but it's cool to see that there's been 3 hatcheries thrown down. on Protoss' side of the map. Continuing to just storm the crap out of overlords. See, this is kind of that thing that I was talking about, you know, a few times. Like, hey, energy is an infinitely renewable resource in this game. And when everything's kind of dried up, you can always use it. So might as well sling it out there, let them start recharging. And we've got observers heading out too. So the observers, like, there's going to be a point where rulebot identifies how the game state actually looks at the moment. He's going to come here. He knows that this exists, that it is flush with minerals and gas. He has to assume that all these other bases have been mined out. And so it really does come down to, can he come over here and identify this? Or is he going to focus on this? And I think he's going to focus over here. It's worked in the past. It defends this base, which is pretty sturdy on its own with 1 million cannons. And if Rulebot's aware of this one, this is going to end up pulling Dada's army. And he's going to be able to hit this one as well. So, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot going on all over the map. You can see on the mini-map that we got red, we got orange, all intermixed. I'm running out of things to talk about. It's 40 minutes in. Yeah, Dada needs to protect this base. Dada's hurting so bad on minerals. Honestly, this is kind of, this is a big bummer, right? I think all that mining, like, that those drones could have been doing over the course of the past several minutes could have been a game changer, you know? Alright, Protoss taking this base. That'll keep them on 2 mining bases. Zerg, kind of on 2 mining bases. This one has the potential, but it's not really happening. This one's really the moneymaker for Dada at the moment. And Dada's really starting to try to get his upgrades up. He's at 2-1. He's going up to 3-1, right? Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what their game plans are right now. Okay, it looks like Rulebot is starting to amass an army. I guess his primary focus... Like, look at all these cannons. This is absurd. I'm telling you. Guardians. Siege stanks of the sky. Some Guardians earlier on in this game would have been phenomenal. Easier said than done. Big investment to go that route, but... I think that would have been good on this map. Yeah. I think right now the tables have officially turned. I think Rulebot is handedly in the lead here as we go into the mega late game. We have cracklings being researched. Now the problem is, though, is that cracklings, though very, very efficient and very effective at just tearing through like some of the static D and stuff, you still use a lot of larva, and it generally works when you can send wave after wave after wave, and we don't have the economy to do that. So they'll get in here, clean up these zealots pretty well. Gosh, you can see those upgrades just paying absolute dividends for our Protoss player right now. Big storms. Fighting here on the edge of the map. Get the Templar. Gets it. Okay, Crackling's kind of poking in. It still feels like it takes an eternity for these Zerglings to do any damage, even in Crackling mode. Alright, it looks like Dada's going to charge in with what he's got. Can he make it happen? I want him to focus over here. Dude. Yeah, this is what... GG. Alright, Dada threw in the towel. He had enough. Holy crap, guys. That was a 43-minute game. Now, I have a little dose of honesty I gotta tell you guys. I knew that was going to be a 43-minute game. I get spoiled to the length of these games when I'm loading them up. And that was intimidating to enter. I was like, gosh dang it. We have a 45-minute game. I feel tricked. All right, guys. So that brings us to a 3-2 record right now. So that was Neo Dark Origin. The next map we're going to be on is actually a good one. I really enjoy this map, and it is Roaring Currents, or Oldamok, as most people kind of called it, and its Korean name. This is a 2-player map, and we can talk about it a little bit when we get into it, because this was from last ladder season, so it's like the most recent of the maps that we've seen so far. And I hated it at first, but it really grew on me as the season kind of went. Because it's just so wonky, you know? This is a really wonky map. So up here in the top right, like I said, 2-player map, we have our orange Zerg, Dada, who I'm sure is so freaking pissed right now. Like, I wonder if this was all played in one sitting, because if it was, like, there's a lot of StarCraft. But anyway, up here in the top right, here in the bottom left, we have our red Protoss, rulebot. And right now the record is 3-2 in Dada's favor in this best of 7 series, so Dada is still on match point. Now, what's interesting about this map is it has an incredibly long rush distance for a 2-player map. You have your main base, which is really kind of wonky shaped, right? All your building is up here, but the route that you run out is down here. And it connects to your natural that has a gas with a large ramp leading out of it. Now, in order to get to your opponent's base by ground, we can just follow this probe. You got to go all the way up north through this third, which is really kind of rough. The general third is the elevated one. You got to cross this bridge, which is the only bridge that takes you to the other side, and do the same on the other side of the map. But there's like four islands essentially that exist. You have this one, a mirrored one on the other side, and one up here in the top left. And so, like, this is a crazy map, and I don't remember where it ended up being favored, but I've seen some really sweet like ZVPs on this map that evolve into like Devour play. Like, it becomes very air intensive Niduses on all of these islands. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with Terran, with like dropping siege tanks right here and like hitting their natural. A lot of really, really cool strategies that have come out of this map. But the one thing I will say is it does lean towards air play, right? So you'll see a lot of air-based strategies show up, and a lot of crazy stuff go on with those islands. But we see 6 Zerglings, so we're going straight into the Zergling play. If I were to predict that to happen, I probably would. Like 2 of the wins that Dada had were very aggressive Zergling plays, and then we just got out of a 40-plus minute game. I would be pulling out any strategy I had that made this series just end, right? That's how I'd be looking at it, and I think Dada's doing the same. We see 6 Zerglings, 8, 10. We're going Zergling all in, it looks like. We've done Extractor Trick to get to this supply. He's going to be expanding, but he's going to try to rush in. He gets right past this cannon. He's got 3 sitting there trying to attack it. Oh no, it's not going to be enough. The probe coming in and helping out. Oh my gosh, if those first 2 lings didn't just run by, he would have killed it. That cannon would have been down. Instead, we lose all the lings, and the cannon still survives. Now, there is a probe there, too. You can barely see him through the flames, but it looks like the Forge Fast Expand is going to be secure for Rulebot here. Expansion on the way. More lings. This might be in response to having seen the gateway going down early. Zelt's going to push away these initial lings. He might get surrounded, though, if he doesn't bring this guy back by the follow-up lings. But, like, not a lot of drones being made here by Dada, and he's only got 3. Hold on. Was this a 4 pool? Did I completely miss that? Hey, at the end of this, I'll go back to the beginning. It was a 5 pool. That's insanity. Now, there is a factor of like, hey, no one would expect a 5 pool on this map. But you can see how long that rush distance is. If he 5 pools and there's a cannon that shows up in time, it takes a minute. Like, the rush distance is pretty freaking long on this map. But it almost worked, too. Like I said, if those initial 2 lings didn't, like, run around over here and then come back, this cannon would have been dead. Okay, we are starting to drone up a little bit. We're back up to 5. 5 drones. Dada's definitely playing from behind right now. I think rulebot, you know, having survived the initial push, is feeling pretty good about himself. Every time I see your name in the chat, Tribe, I think of the old school game, Tribe. Don't know if you played it much, but good times. All right, double forge. Getting an assimilator, throwing a cannon down here in the main. And you know why he's probably doing this right now? Is because this map does lean towards airplay so much, right? So Rulebot is probably thinking, okay, that was a lot of links early. What's the tech of choice? Well, you know, Hydralisk kind of rough, you know, to get all the way down here and actually make something happen on this ramp. So what should you defend against? Well, let's just make sure if he does bring a Mutalisk and he does try to go air, that we have a cannon to protect the mineral line. So we do have the double forge. We haven't seen the upgrades kind of start yet. I'm sure there will be a world when he starts going armor and attack simultaneously. Honestly, I think right now he might have just thrown those down to just seal it. He just needs the wall. We are getting up to layer. We're still on 5 drones, guys. Like, I'm kind of surprised Dada has been racing to layer. This tells me that he wants to get those mutas out as soon as possible. But he's not going to have the ability to really make much, right? Like, he's only got 100 gas. He doesn't have the drones to mine gas and minerals at the same time. So once he gets layer, he builds the spire. He'll be down to 4 drones again. And he, you know, once the spire is complete, he's going to be able to make like 3 mutas. A lot of lings. I don't know. I just don't think the lings are the way to go. Now, I don't know if he's seen this second forge. We do have armor starting up right now. And I think the armor first idea also might have to do with a fear of Mutalisks. Kind of try to negate a lot of that glaive damage as it bounces around. But yeah, I mean, Dada's got to make something happen, and the earlier the better if we're going to be sticking on this low drone count for this long. All right, now we have weapons being researched as well. We have our Stargate, which would be expected. You know, Rulebot really a big fan of cannons. Generally a less efficient way to play. But, you know, they are annoying. And, you know, cannons do pretty well, like mass cannons against lings that are trying to snake their way through all your buildings. 38 probes to 5 drones. Continuing ling production. Just pumping them out. I love it. This is bonkers. And I'm wondering, like, what the trigger is, right? Dada's probably in his mind thinking, you know, once I have 40 lings, that's when I'm going to go. Or maybe he's thinking, once I see a Corsair, that's when I'll go. All right, he's going to check up here on the 3rd. Now, this might be an attempt to hide the lings. Like, he's got an Overlord here, a few lings that would be expected. Okay. So this looks like, oh, is he going to drop? No, he doesn't have that researched. That would be cool. A massive ling drop in the main would be freaking rad. Oh, the Corsair flew right over it. Oh my gosh, he has to go now. He has to go now. He's targeting these cannons. I kind of wish he would just... Oh, no. This is a massacre. That was... He's got 9 supply. GG. Gosh dang. Okay, I want to double check, though, real quick. I think... Hold on. I just missed it. It was definitely a cheese, though. Yeah. So it was like a 6 pool? Interesting. Okay. So if it actually was a 4 pool, or if it actually was a 5 pool, it would have hit before the cannon was, you know, he would have had like 10 or 15 more seconds before that cannon finished. All right. Well, GG. That brings us to game 7, guys. We're tied up. This is almost a reverse like sweep situation coming from rulebot. He may be able to make that happen. We were at 3-1 for a while. I think rulebot won game 1, game 5, and game 6. And we're going into game 7. And you know what? Game 7 is going to take us back to where we began. We are playing on Allegro. And I think this is a result of NASL and the amount of maps that they kind of have available in their pool for this. So we are going to go into game number 7, and then I need to, like, I don't know, take freaking throat medication or something, because I did not expect this series to be this long. But you know what? Whenever there are finals, especially like best of 7 series, like if you're watching ASL or something like that, you really want it to go the whole distance. You know, you want them to be fighting tooth and nail for the title, and that's what we're getting now. So let's go ahead and go into game number 7, Dada versus rulebot for all the marbles on Allegro. Fun stuff. All right, Allegro, 4-player map. Last time we saw it, it was cross spawn. But opposite corners, right? So right now we have Dada here in the top right as our orange Zerg, and in the bottom left we have our red Protoss rulebot. Now, the one thing about this map is rulebot was able to take it in game number 1. So we'll see if Dada has a plan or learned anything from the first game of this series to try to do something differently, right? To try to overcome what rulebot had succeeded on this map in game number 1. So we're not seeing a 5 pool this time, or a 6 pool rather, like last game. And last time on this map, we did a pylon scout. Here we go. Don't fix it if it's not broke. It's going clockwise this time. Last time he went counterclockwise when he was in the bottom right corner. So he follows the direction of his natural. No, it's just different. Never mind. He's just choosing something different. Okay, this looks like a 9 pool. 9 pool, no overlord. Okay, I'm convinced Dada, after that 40-minute game, wanted this series to end. Okay, so we're going 9 pool. We're getting the overlord now. This is going to be an aggressive Ling attempt again. I'm feeling it. Feeling it in my bones. Unfortunately for Dada, he is cross-spawn location. Now, the last time we saw him do a 9 pool type variant build was, I think, game number 2, where he kind of blindly went to the top left corner of whatever map that was. And was very lucky, right? Like, he got in, snuck into the main base, harassed all the probes, did a ton of economic damage early on. This time, the scouting intel is not really going to be there. We've got the 6 Lings. This overlord might identify that he's not in the bottom right. But if he does what he did last time, which was a very similar situation, these Lings might go tearing off to the top left. And if that's the case, it's going to be a little bit of a bummer for him. Not only that, but the probe is going to identify it. Oh, is he going cross? Oh, no, this might just be the path. Okay, so he made a choice. He's tearing across. Okay, so he is going cross, but he's sending 1 Ling to double check top left. The one thing that might have determined that, actually, was the timing of the probe. So Dada might have been paying attention to when that probe was around and scouting him. Okay, here we go. But there's already 2 cannons. And they're getting hung up on this gateway. Okay, so he's not going to get any damage here. He's got a few more lings coming. He did throw down his hatchery. Alright, so this is going to have to become a game. For Dada to get past this, like, this is a 2-gate. No Nexus as of yet. Alright. So Dada's going to have to hunker down. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to pump out enough lings to get past this behemoth of a Sim City right now. Because there's going to be Zealots that are going to pop out relatively soon, I'd imagine. We are throwing down the Nexus instead. But you can plug these holes. Right? With the probe here, like, the lings just can't get to these cannons very easily. Dada, big Dada, loves his lings. More lings. 8 drones, 17 probes. Okay, trying to sneak around. Trying to get some surface area on these cannons. This first one might actually go down. Targeted the second one. That's kind of an interesting choice. Is he going to kill it? Oh my gosh. No, it doesn't die. I think he could have killed this top one if he had targeted that one when the lings had it all surrounded. That one would have shredded really fast. And then he might have even gotten the second one. It's weird, like, how the damage output is when there's 2 versus like when you can cut off one of them, half that damage. That was a really good attempt there, but I think the targeting kind of screwed it up. We're getting a 3rd hatchery here. Is this a Zealot? We have our first Zealot heading across the map, and Rulebot's doing a pretty good job of just like standard forge fast expand. Just try to keep this as sealed up as he can. All right, here we go again. This time there's 3 cannons and a Zealot. I think this one's going to even... Oh, no. GG. GG. Congratulations, Rulebot, for taking the EF Group Finals for NASL. Let's go ahead and go back to the beach, y'all. All right. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. We got to see 7 full matches of a best of 7. I got to cast an NASL match and not another Star League match. Definitely love the idea, the server, the amount of competition. From my understanding of it, basically how it works is you get lumped into various groups based off your MMR. So you join and you're like, hey, this is my MMR. This is like my race. This is the map that I want to veto from the maps available for voting on. Then you get placed in these groups. And how you perform in those groups, if you end up in the top 2, so I believe Rulebot and Dada in this case, I might be a little bit fuzzy on these rules, they will promote to the next higher group to have a similar experience in the next season. So it's kind of an internal ladder in that sense, but you have to play through your group and you have to go through all of the obstacles and opponents to earn it. So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of names from the community that you would recognize from CPL, from StarCraft Underground. And it's a really cool endeavor. So if you're curious about it, ask around, get into that Discord. I don't know if I can send an invite. But either way, it's not too hard to find. Yeah, no, this was fun. Yeah, I did it in a single run. I did check the times before I casted it. I was going to do it last night. But I was like, this whole series is going to take like 2 hours plus. Like I need to be in the mood for that. So anyway, congratulations, Rulebot. Congratulations, Dada, for making it. Great games. And let's find someone to raid, right? Let's see if there's anyone out and about, and you guys can continue to watch some great StarCraft. It's been a good day for it. Yeah, I'll go ahead and send you over to Ozzy. I like watching Ozzy. He streams late. He's playing some BGH right now. Good dude. I don't know if Ozzy plays in NASL, but he plays in StarCraft Underground. And just a good dude in the community. All right, everyone. Have a great night.